At your age. Think about the last time you heard this phrase and stop mid-laugh to think about your behavior. Now I want to discuss why moments of purely enjoying your inner child and embracing your inner child in its innocence is a part of your mental health upkeep that you must simply attend to. Your inner child is something that plays a very important role in the adults you are trying to portray in today's world. The ignoring or denial of your inner child can lead to some very dangerous emotions as well as motivations behind behavior. I have, throughout my life, heard the aforementioned phrase, act your age, or grow up, while simply enjoying the things that make me happy. I am a person who loves to laugh, frolic, and play, with the pure innocence of enjoying the moment. I had to learn to deal with society's expectations that I let my inner child go, or I quiet, or I let it fade away. I did research in a way to sort of justify me holding onto this precious side of myself. And in doing research, I found our topic today. We will be breaking down in today's conversation the importance of your inner child by covering the following subjects. How your inner child affects your everyday life. The dangers of ignoring or denying your inner child. As well as, lastly, the benefits that you can gain by finally embracing your inner child and letting their voice be heard within your adult mind. You may at this point be asking yourself a lot of questions about the concept of the inner child. Let's explore that together, shall we? Everyone has an inner child that they carry within themselves. The child plays a background role in the motivations of your daily choices, both bad and good. Your inner child is a part of your past that you developed in your most formative years. It is all the fears, traumas, love messages that you received from the people and experiences that developed you into the adult you are today. An article found on BetterHelp website by Kelly Kumpf titled Inner Child, What It Is, What Happened to It, How Can I Fix It? It defines your inner child as a part of your mind that reacts to the situations and external stimuli like a child. The inner child is the part of your reactions to the world around you based on your past experiences with it, such as when a certain lullaby puts you at ease because when younger or sad, a trusted protector is saying this to you. The inner child goes through experiences in life that we convince ourselves we must move past as part of growing up. We harden ourselves to the inner child's signals as well as their voices, thinking that they no longer affect us, but they're still very present in our lives today. The inner child also plays a role in how we react to certain events that traumatized us as a child and how we react to them in adulthood. These events can be such as sexual abuse, a loss of an important family member, severe bullying by schoolmates when we were younger, many other major events. They can all carry with you into adulthood as part of your inner child that you carry within yourself. The events mentioned above cause you in adulthood to avoid developing certain aspects of yourself and aspects of your personality, or react irrationally in moments of life based on the pain associated with those type of events, or those type of experiences. And it's because, your inner child's still carrying them. Your inner child's still making it part of your psyche. Just because you're not listening doesn't mean it's not unconsciously sending you messages. This can kind of be seen when a person avoids dating because they were bullied really bad in the past, and they still see themselves as that sort of young child that was all those bad things their bullying was saying. It's because they never dealt with it because they're ignoring their inner child. Now they avoid dating altogether because they still have those messages sort of in the background, making them make bad choices for themselves and making them not develop certain personality aspects that can really help them in being an adult. I already feel more connected to my inner child. Now that we've already covered how the little voice of the little boy or girl inside of you affects you, let's move on to the actual dangers and how it could possibly have real negative effects if you continue to ignore that inner voice or that inner child pleading for certain actions. The act of ignoring or denying your inner child can have really dangerous consequences when it comes to the development of your mental growth into a truly healthy, functional adult. As essential secrets of psychotherapy, the inner child published on Psychology Today website by Stephen A. Diamond, PhD, in June of 2018, covers in details the unconscious influences of a rejected inner child and how it can lead to destructive behavior. The article by Stephen A. Diamond on Psychology Today makes a point I agree with very much when speaking of the dangers of an ignored or denial in a child. When adults claim to be adults but ignore their inner child, the result is very much a 4-year-old, unchecked, running an adult's body. The destructive behaviors or that we have, the bad behaviors that we sort of develop by ignoring our inner child, they're fueled by that inner child's fear, the traumas that they went through in their younger years. And when we ignore them, we're leaving them unchecked. We're basically not monitoring them in any way. So we react subconsciously without conscious thought behind it. The best example of this I could say would be Peter Pan syndrome. It's basically the practice of claiming the title of adult while still running away from responsibility or certain aspects of your life that adults would normally be asked to handle, and leaving it on others simply because you don't want to leave a certain period of your life or you don't want to deal with, certain things that are happening within yourself. And a lot of those things could be what's happening with your inner child, such as if you felt abandonment when you're younger, you run before someone can abandon you. This is a prime example of how ignoring your inner child can have negative effects in your life that can really affect you. Because if you're always running, you can never truly develop in a place. An ignored inner child has negative traits that influence an adult's behavior without any thought behind it. Such as I said, subconscious messages being sent to your brain, you reacting, and your inner child just sort of playing and doing what it needs to, doing basically what it wants to do without you having any conscious thought behind it. In our quest to grow up, we're sort of never truly deal with the issues or the traumas that our child sort of carries in a lot of cases. We convince ourselves that we've grown past it because that's what we're taught to do. Be an adult, suck it up, grow past it. This is wrong because just because we're convincing ourselves that we're running past it, it doesn't mean that we're actually past it. It just means that we're ignoring it. So we still have these messages, these sort of fears and traumas telling us to do things. And if we're not monitoring it, we do them. But when we embrace our inner child, we become more aware of these messages and where they're coming from. We can take a moment to nurture our inner child and make our inner child feel a little bit more comfortable and say, hey, you're a little scared right now, but we know why we're scared. Why won't you, my past self, and my present self work together to make better choices? An individual will operate in society with the pain and hurt of a child when they don't monitor what their child is doing. So essentially what we have is a 10-year-old brain or a 10-year-old subconscious messages running an adult's life. And you can't really expect a 10-year-old to have a healthy, functional relationship as an adult would, or to be able to handle stresses of work in the way that an adult would. So when we start acknowledging our inner child, we not just gain back the positive traits that come with our inner child, just such as innocence, versions of ourselves that are all such as innocence, versions of ourselves that like to play, as well as I'd say, just enjoying the simple pleasures of life. We also gain the chance to monitor those unconscious bad messages that our inner child is sending us. We gain a chance to be aware of our actions. We gain a chance to, instead of ignoring and trying to push down our inner child's trauma, we gain the opportunity to listen and, like I said, work together with our past and present sense to make better life choices. Now that I've sufficiently warned you of the dangers, let's move on to the ways you can start benefiting once you start embracing your inner child and it becomes an active part of your life and your motivations. I think the only way to get my point across at this point in the conversation is to help you visualize the benefits of nurturing your inner child. Preserving your inner child, found on Om Time's website, written by Nicole Breyer's list, the known benefits of working with your inner child with abandonment. I will list the most interesting ones for you here. The first benefit to discuss, in my opinion, is the most obvious one. You have more fun when you embrace your inner child. A person embracing their inner child discovers fun without the expectations of how an adult should have fun. It's simpler. You do things that make you laugh. You do things that make you happy, forgetting about what society expects from you. In the conscious decision to allow your inner child to actively participate in your life, a lot of people rediscover their ability to appreciate smaller pleasures in life, such as dancing silly to your favorite song, or walking in the park. These small activities help reduce stress, which makes your life a better quality. When you're not so worried about how you should behave as an adult and you're sort of listening to all parts of yourself, you truly find things that can make you happy. You rediscover both the big and the small things that can make you happy. The ability to laugh or play is known to increase the quality of life, which also attracts others with that same quality. The more you embrace your inner child, the more you figure out how to laugh and play, the more you figure out how to listen to your inner child's messages without the guise of being an adult. You'll attract others into your life who basically do the same practices. And doing this, your friends become better. You find that one friend that is perfectly willing to play with you in this world or understands in a way that people that are still denying, ignoring their inner child, why certain messages come through and can help you basically find the true answer instead of someone who's still ignoring their inner child that would just basically tell you grow up, act your age. You're not a kid anymore. These are all things that people are still ignoring, denying their child. They will say to you. If you act in a manner where you're embracing your inner child, you attract people that are also embracing their inner child, and they can have real conversations with you about why you were doing the things that you were doing. Another benefit of speaking and playing with your inner child is that you learn what used to excite you. You relearn it. You rediscover passions that you long had forgotten within the hustle and bustle of life. A person's inner child remembers what makes them feel happy and full of hopeful purpose in a way that most adults don't. Your inner child has the information in there for you. You just have to learn to talk to it. The inner child remembers how good it felt the first time you read your first good fantasy novel, or how accomplished they felt the first time you learned that first note on guitar in a way that your adult self simply can't. So when you learn to talk to yourself, they can remind you, how great it feels to play guitar, how much it relaxes you, how much fun it is without, sort of adult motivations behind it, that you have to be successful and that nature. When you're a child and you do these things, you're doing them for simple enjoyment. Your inner child shows you how to find these things again with a sort of innocence of passion that you may have long abandoned. The inner child knows how you react to things around you in the most natural way possible. I cannot stress this enough. They react to outside influences in the most innocent of ways possible without other people's expectation messages, sort of gumming up what the true reaction is. If you talk to your inner child, they remember these things. They can remind you as an adult that what your true reaction to things without thinking about how you should react. The free moments a person lets their inner child frolic in a sense, a person learns how to enjoy things freely, which is very, very important to life. It was so much fun going over the inner child's importance in your life. Let's review the main points we discussed. We went over the following today. What your inner child can mean to your everyday life, the dangers of ignoring your inner child, as well as the benefits of finally embracing your inner child and listening to those messages and dealing with those traumas. We went over all those subjects today. Please be aware that you need to be a little bit more childish. You need to let your little inner child's voice come through. You need to let your inner child be loved and understood because they are a very, very important part of yourself. I know a lot of people believe that they let that part of themselves go a long time ago, but it's still in there. Your little boy or little girl is still looking for ways to play. They're still looking for ways to have fun. You just need to let them. You just need to listen. And while listening to that little voice inside you, you start to give yourself a sort of heightened mental health. You start to become a fully functional adult because you're listening to all parts of your adult self. You're not ignoring any parts. I am giving you permission to go forth into the world and have as much fun as we had speaking today while hearing your little person speaking from inside of you. I am giving you permission to deal with the inner child's voices that tell you your fears as well as your worries that you develop in childhood with full confidence. Don't worry about being an adult. Play. Thanks for joining me today.